And we're back on Second Street talking with Charles Burton. He's the author of a new book, The Beaver and the Dragon. Charles, before the break, you mentioned that very concerning figure that we've got 11 members of parliament who are compromised. They're not necessarily acting in the best interests of our nation, which is obviously very troubling. But that's certainly not all in terms of what has been happening with China and some of the things they've been getting up to in our country. What would be something else that would be a top concern for you in terms of what China's been doing in Canada?
Well, I think certainly I'd like to see any Chinese agents of espionage, influence, or harassment expelled. And, we've only expelled one of these figures. That was a man called Zhao Wei, who was under diplomatic protection at the Chinese consulate in Toronto. But in fact, he was, a member of the Chinese Ministry of State Security. And it was exposed in the press that Mr. Zhao had been seeking to gather information about the Conservative Party foreign affairs critic Michael Chong's family with a view to trying to intimidate Mr. Chong. I don't think that we responded vigorously in that regard. And, I believe that CSIS is aware of a large number of Chinese diplomatic personnel who are involved in activities which are not consistent with their diplomatic function. They have a very large cohort of diplomats in Canada. I don't understand how we have so much fewer in China and so many more in Canada, but they have not much less diplomats in Canada than the United States, than they have in the United States, and about four times the diplomatic cohort of India and of Japan. So, I'd like to see us tell the Chinese that we're not going to tolerate people that are having diplomatic cover and running proxies that are not following proper diplomatic protocols. I do that to start with. I think we certainly need to strengthen our defense of the North against China's incursions. We found espionage buoys dropped into Canadian waters. In general, China and Russia hope to gain some leverage over the Canadian Arctic. I think we have to stop the transfer of dual-use military technologies from Canadian labs to the People's Republic of China and prosecute the people who are um, engaged in activities to transfer these technologies to China. Other countries are prosecuting these people every year. Canada has not had a successful prosecution of even a single one of these people because CSIS is reluctant to provide the evidence to the courts to actually make them accountable for this activity. So it's more or less open season on spying in Canada. Um, I, I'd certainly like to see us implement that registry so that Canadian officials, people influential in the policy process, should not feel that they can freely accept benefits from a foreign power that could put them in a conflict of interest. And we have indications that there are quite a number of these. And I think we need the government to take CSIS more seriously. In the Oil Commission, you may recall the 50-day gap between when CSIS requested surveillance warrant on a former member of the Ontario provincial legislature, and when it actually hit the minister's desk. Why was there that long delay? Why did the prime minister say that
Mm.
he didn't credit some of the CSIS assessments that suggested that Canada should be taking more vigorous action against China? If Mr. Trudeau or future prime minister feels that CSIS is giving assessments that he can't credit, then surely it's time to replace the head of CSIS and get someone that will provide him with intelligence that he can trust. So there's just a myriad of issues that need to be addressed. All of them, I think, relatively simple to address. And if I was prime minister, I think I would be taking some fairly vigorous action to set things to rights.
Yeah. Well, look, it makes sense. It does seem like they don't respect us. They're treating us like a doormat. They're walking all over us. And it seems like that's not going to change until we actually start to stand up and start defending ourselves. Again,
Exactly.
the name of the book is The Beaver and the Dragon. Charles, thank you for taking a few minutes to chat with us today.
Great to speak with you, Colin.
Well, there you have it. I wish I had some better stories for you in terms of good news stories, but we got a lot of weak leadership when it comes to healthcare and our relations with China. Both of those books you might find of interest in, as always. Thanks for tuning in.